You're such an asshole.
So for about 2 years now, I've been wanting to do this series called High School Millionaire. And the reason why is that because of the power of compounding, not to bore people with financial mathematics, but the earlier you make investments in your life, the more time you have your investments to grow. And so the number one thing you can do is invest your money wisely and let that expand, compound over time, and you can have a very comfortable and early retirement if you do it right. Now, most of that is focused on investing in your retirement plans early, paying off your debts early, things like that. But for me, and I'd imagine a lot of other young people out, not the majority, certainly not the majority, this is a minority, but a bigger minority than you might think. The 13 years I had to waste in K through 12, kindergarten to my senior year, was just a tremendous pissing away of time. And in hindsight, had I known, had I been tested, had someone slap me across the head and say, "Hey, you idiot, you're really intelligent." It's just that the system is not designed to take intelligent kids and advance you. Oh, you get to go into gifted and talented. Oh, look, we gave you a yellow rope when you graduated. Oh, look, you graduated with honors. But I could put it simply, I could have been out of high school. I could have done it by the 6th grade. And by today's standards, how we lower it, probably the 5th grade. If someone just sat me down and they're like, look, you could do this math if you try really hard. You could pass this. And I would say for at least half the population, especially given today's standards, you don't have to go to high school. You could get your GED or a high school diploma equivalent by the 8th grade for average high school grad. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to find a job, you got any skills, but if we're all going to go and stick for 13 years of your life to just come out after 13 years and you still don't have an education enough to get a job, something's wrong. And I thought, what if we could get kids to skip high school? And what I realized, especially now with the internet and online education, why are you even going to high school? And again, this isn't for everybody. This isn't for the people, well, I go to high school because of the social things. This isn't for the morons and the drool coming out of your mouth where you're just basically going to college. You're going to school to be babysat because your parents want to go work and they want to buy an SUV and they made 2 incomes to make the payment on their house and their cars. I'm not talking about you people. I'm talking about, I'd estimate top 25% of kids. If you're like, God, I hate school. Or you're straight A's. Like maybe you're just really good at it. Those people who are either just really intelligent, consequently bored to death in high school or K through 12. And the straight A students who obviously, maybe you're not so bored, but you got the discipline, you get grades. You guys have the work ethic. You could skip 4 years. And now with the advent of the internet and online colleges, I ask you, why bother going to college when you go to school online, like through Western Governors, ASU? Some of you, depending on the state you're in, some of them allow you to attend online if they have an online program. Some of them allow you to attend in school. I think Minnesota, you could go to, don't quote me on this, but a buddy of mine who's super intelligent and has kids of his own is like, you can go to college for free in Minnesota if you're a kid. I'm like, really? So why go to high school? And so when you start looking at the tremendous waste of time that K through college is, where you could skip high school, and some of you, I think, could get a college degree or some kind of skill or trade by the 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, you save yourself at least 4 years not going to high school. And depending how many years you want, you could save yourself 8 years, high school and college, 10 or more if you want to pull a Doogie Howser, which would be exceptionally rare. And so I got a super chat in my previous video. Kid says, I'm 19, graduated from Western Governors University with a degree in computer science, making $65,000 a year. I'm like, that's the guy. That's the guy. And look, you're not going to get the system. This is not out of malice. Your parents don't love you. Your teachers don't care. Your teachers really don't care. I'll just give you some inside baseball on that. It's not that they don't care. It's just that the system is designed this way. So what I want to do is come up with a series called High School Millionaire to help high school age kids, or approach even middle school would be ideal, to at least get the concept in your mind. You don't have to go the speed of the dumbest kid in the classroom. You really don't. You don't have to be really, think about how dumb that is. Like, let's say you're really smart. Why you have to wait until you're 18 to graduate? Why don't you go into, now a lot of it's going to require work ethic and all that. A lot of you're going to have to take your classes at home and accelerate. A lot of you, you could say, well, look, I'll go to school. There's Minnesota, there's an online high school. I'm like, dude, sign me up for that. And then you line up your classes on college online to correlate with the classes you got to take in high school online. So you write one paper, but you send it to both classes. All of a sudden, you're like 3 years ahead of everyone else. You're 17 and you're starting to apply for computer programming positions. That's what I'm talking about. And so I wanted to plant the idea in young people's mind to give them like this alternative path so that you don't have to go to high school. God, I hated school. Do you hate school, kids? Do you hate school? There's a good chance because people are freaking morons in school, your teachers most notably. And then you're stuck in this class with a bunch of morons. You yourself are just so brain dead. Here's a test. Like, do you do really good on the mathematical standardized test, but you suck at English and everything else? This is who I'm talking to. English, by the way, isn't real. You don't have to be tested past like the 6th grade. You speak, read, and write it pretty well by that time. You have a dangling participle, C-. Shut up, Karen. And so just to get the idea out there. Now, the other videos I'm going to do are kind of like have an outline of like, okay, here's what you can do. Here's that you could save the time. And the idea, boy, howdy, would it be easy that if you save 4 years of your life, like instead of going to school for 4 years, instead of going to school for high school and college for 8, definitely there. The math is real easy on that one. But if you don't go to school for 4 years and instead like either graduate with a college degree early, get a trade, and you start working, you start banking that money early, you'll easily have $1 million down the road. Now, whether in full intellectual honesty and disclosure, whether that $1 million is worth anything in the future with inflation is another issue. All right. But the current system we have now, where we piss away almost 20 years of your life from 5 to 22 for you to finally be qualified to work. No. School is way too inefficient, especially for smart kids or just kids who have a work ethic. It's way too inefficient. What I want to do is like point out, hey, there's a different path. And 2, here's how you can do it. And 3, instead of you sitting there, I do believe you got to go to school for a certain amount of time. I mean, you're not going to be programming no computers at 5. All right. So get your reading, writing, and arithmetic in. And don't forget about the heavy socialist indoctrination that men can have periods. You need to have that. That's going to help you get a job. You need that diversity and inclusion stuff. But if you could just bypass high school and college and be like this kid, 19 years old, making 65 grand, there's a tremendous, not only financial, but time, life-saving, not like your life would be saved, you just would spend less of your life pissed away at school, opportunity for young people today to just say, we are done. We're done. I don't want to be a millennial. I don't want to be some 38-year-old crying and protesting I need a student loan bailout while I live with my mom. I don't want to be that person. And I don't want, here's another simple self-respecting question. I don't want to wait till I'm 22 for corporate America or the government, all the employers to finally say, well, now we'll consider hiring you. Entry level, though, no, we won't train you. F that shit. The education, an accredited, certified education is being made available for people regardless of age. And in some cases, quite affordably so. If you're a young person and you have the work ethic and or you're just bored out of your freaking mind and you want to stay at home and study online, think about that. 2 hours a day saved, not taking the bus. Instead, you're studying, learning how to program and code in the 8th or 9th grade. And everyone's like, oh, you're not going to school. Oh my God, you're a loser. All of a sudden you're making like $40 an hour. like at 15, making more than your old man. And everyone's tisk-tisking you because you didn't go to school. You didn't go to college. Meanwhile, by the time you're 18 or 19, you're like this guy making 65 grand a year, maybe even more. So I just want to introduce the concept. And this kid did it. This kid did it. 19 years old, 65 grand. And a lot of you read that, you're like, oh, that's the Doogie Howser thing. I'm not that smart. You have no idea how dumb your teachers are making you think you are. They're not doing it. By the way, they're not doing it maliciously. But the school system, the parents, modern day society, they don't tell you when you're smart. They themselves can identify intelligence. You don't even. Yeah, I've known it where you'll score real well on tests consistently, but you'll never think you're smart because you didn't dissect the sentence. Oh, that's an adverb, not an adjective. F minus. F you, Karen. And so just the idea, that's all I wanted to do is introduce the concept that not that you'd be a millionaire in high school, but it's possible. But it's you're not going to be a millionaire in high school going to high school. You're just not. And we have an opportunity now for you kids to bypass, oh God, the stupid hell that high school is. And then the counteraction is, or the counter argument is like, well, they won't get socialized correctly. No one gets socialized correctly in high school. It's a nightmare. K through 12, that's a nightmare. They're mentally ill. That's not the real world. Go on, play baseball with your buddies in the neighborhood. There you be socialized. You don't need to sit in school, listen to some old 48-year-old spinster tell you about, I don't know, Civil War history. Go read a book, watch a YouTube video. You'll learn it better that way. You don't need to sit there in prison, a variable mental prison. You don't need to be there. You could learn so much more quickly on the internet or online college courses, or just going to trades and picking it up. That easily, you hear these millennials complaining about like, it must have been great being a boomer. You graduate from high school, there's a job. It can happen again. It can happen again. You don't need people's permit. Your parents probably get pissed off. I'm dropping out of high school so I can attend college. What? Oh, there's going to be backlash. Not saying it's going to be an easy road, but your life is going to be a hell of a lot easier if you're coming out of the gates at 18 making $30 an hour, probably working from home on a computer too, than you are, now you got to get your master's degree in journalism with $180,000 in debt and making $15 an hour because no one needs a journalism degree. Meanwhile, you're wasting Lord knows how much of your youth and time. And so link below, just some preliminary links if you're interested. There's a link down below called Worthless Young Person's Indispensable Guide to Choosing the Right Major. That's a book. I'm not even saying go to college for the right thing, but you could even start sooner. There's also, what was the other one? A link to Achieving Financial Excellence. I don't know if a 15-year-old kid's going to take that course, but that's unteachable. That teaches you about finance, what the true point and purpose of money is, and how to attain financial excellence early. Because y'all think it's like Ferraris and Lambos, bro. No, it ain't. That'll make your job a lot easier. And then also link below, I strongly recommend this, indemandcareers.com, Seth Himes. He's a buddy of mine. He runs a online, I don't know if you could call it a school, but there's online training he offers to teach you how to do digital marketing. It's not glorious. It's not fun, but no job you were ever going to have was going to be glorious or fun, no matter what your parents and teachers told you about follow your heart and the money will follow and do what you're passionate about. You know what passionate people do? You know what? All the millennials who are passionate about journalism and political science, they're panhandling right now and serving up your coffee. All right. So if you want to avoid that, maybe you consider this philosophy I'm trying to, but also if you want a very direct, he interviewed a kid. I bet you could find it. Seth interviewed a kid, 16-year-olds took his course. Kid was making 40 grand a year. I don't think this kid was super genius. He wasn't Doogie Howser. He just, instead of spending, 8 hours a day, 10 with the bus ride, 10 hours a day, listening to truly below average intelligent people called you teachers, reading from a book, telling you things you can just look up for. He instead focused on learning the skill on how to do digital marketing. He made 40 grand a year. As a 16-year-old, this is a couple of years ago. So that's like almost like 45, 50 now. Man, If we could get a generation of kids to just skip school and avoid the hell, go watch Ferris Bueller's Day Off. That's the most accurate depiction of teachers in modern America. Ferris Bueller's Day Off. So those are some resources to get you started. TK, 20 generous dollars. Thanks for all your hard work, Aaron. No problem, TK. Thanks for the $20. And, for those of you out there, TK, I don't know your age, but for those of you who got like a nephew or a niece or a younger brother, a younger sister, God almighty, like there's no reason for you to go to high school. Just go to college. Go straight to college. It's not like it's that hard. Not like these courses they make you take for 2 years are all that difficult. Like, isn't it ironic? You got to take high school economics, then you got to take college economics. It's the same thing. High school English composition. They're going to make you take English composition in college again, even though now you're like 19 or 18 years old. You're pretty good at English by now. Just have them avoid all that. Just have them avoid it all. All right. There you go. I'll see you guys later. Toodles. Oh, hang on real quick. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. It's going to be hell for a couple of years, but it's not a bad idea. All right. I'll see you guys later. Toodles.